Hello, my name is Joseph McKeague, and today I want to bring awareness to the CPS strikes. Now, many of you might know about the CPS strikes. Now, what the CPS strikes are is a strike organized by teachers that started October 17th, 2019. A common misconception about the strike is that people just assume that it's over money. That's not the case. They argue for other points as well. One of their points is that they believe the classrooms are just way too crowded. They believe that they should only be around 25 kids in the class at a time. And the reason for this is that so individual kids can have time to ask their questions, and also so that teachers aren't cramped by the overall size, which is just too large. Another thing is that part of their contracts is that they want it to be where they have enough time to prepare before each class, so that each class has enough time for them to talk and present their points and make sure that everything is well planned and detailed. Like I said, this is organized by teachers, but they're not the only ones participating. There's also social workers, psychologists that work in the school, along with nurses. Any type of social worker is also involved in this. So it's just not the teachers. But they also understand that students are being affected by this. Later on in this video, you'll see an interview conducted by Alexis talking to a student that was affected by the CPS strikes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to my other group members, and so that they can get time to explain all of their points. But keep in mind that teachers don't just want money. They also are trying to do this to help their
According
students.
to Chicago CBS News, the average pay for a Chicago public school teacher without benefits is $76,000 per year. This might seem like a decent pay, but some of these teachers have many years of experience, and you would expect the salary to be a little bit higher. These teachers also live in the city, and that can be more expensive than living in the suburbs. Most of their income goes towards their housing. But it's not only the teachers that deserve a higher pay. So do the other lower paid staff members like nurses, librarians, counselors, and social workers. The city should also be able to do this without cutting any staff. Even then, a higher pay is not the only thing they're asking for. According to Chicago CBS News, the average elementary school class has 25.2 students. This is a big problem because then teachers can't give each student individual attention. Not every kid learns at the same pace. Some kids need more help than others. There are studies that prove that children in smaller classes are able to engage more, and they have a higher academic achievement in the 4 domains: reading, math, listening, and word recognition skills. If class sizes are smaller, teachers will be able to form a relationship with their students.
In my 8th period class, I have trigonometry, and we have about 37 students in our class, and that is a shame. Because today I needed help, and I couldn't get the help that I needed, because she had to keep going around the classroom trying to tell them to calm down or help other students where she couldn't help me. And I understand that might sound selfish, but it's not. I need the education that I want. I'm trying to pass, but I can't do that because there is only one student against 40 and up students. One teacher against 40 and up students. That is a shame. And I need that fixed now so I can get the education I want to receive.
Classroom is an important part of student learning. Some classes have 42 students, some classes have 32 to 33 students. In my classroom, a first grade classroom, I have 34 students. Out of those 34 students, I have 12 that don't know their letter sounds, their kindergarten sight words. I do have some that can read, but it's a wide range of abilities. How can I teach them the way that I need to teach them if the classes are overcrowded? Parents, we need your support. CTU cares about your children. Support them. Help us do our job that we love, to educate our students.
That's right.
While regarding the strike, there were and are many sides that were affected. The side I'm going to be focused on is the students. One of the main aspects that was affected for the students was their extracurricular activities. In high school, sports teams are very important for students, especially the games leading up to the playoffs and the state championships. Due to the strike, the teams were forced to stop practices and forfeit games. Strict IHSA rules came into play during this situation, and they weren't lenient on most, if any, of the rules. IHSA rules that sports teams cannot go longer than 3 days without practice, and due to the strike, the football teams, soccer teams, cross-country runners, and other sports had nowhere to practice and no coaches to lead the practices due to the fact that they were employed through the school. Many took to social media to express how they felt because the strike continued past Wednesday. Teams were forced to forfeit their first round games. To many, sports seemed minimal to the whole picture of the strike. However, this was not the case for the students. Many of the seniors were at a loss of words after hearing of the IHSA rules. This was their last year to demonstrate to college coaches what exactly they could do as they hoped to get any scholarships to help them onto the path to college. Since then, classes resumed Friday, November 1st, and the teams will be able to play in some games leading up to the championship. Overall, the students were the victims of the strike. The absence of schools can directly affect their test scores, especially the math scores. This then plays a role with the older students as they're applying to get the best test scores to show to colleges. After the strike ended, CPS was in work to reschedule school days and have had to take away holidays off, which was not met well with many of the teachers, students, or their parents. While the strike has ended, it still has lasting effects.
Teachers' strike ends after 11 days. Teachers and students will have to make up 5 of the 11 days lost to the historic strike. Teachers initially said they walked out because Lightfoot's office did not meet their demands on limiting class sizes and hiring more support staff in the school. The Chicago Teachers Union wanted all of it written down in a contract, not just in the verbal commitments teachers had received from the district. As we know, the strike had impacted a lot of academics, sports, and college prep for about 350,000 students and their families. The students missed lessons, tournaments, and state playoffs, as well as an ACT exam day. Teachers have taken charge of education policy debates since early 2018 by marching in the streets and filling state capitals to make changes in how states educate students and pay their teachers. This has been extremely hard for the teachers, kids, and parents. They successfully came to a negotiation with hours-long meeting of the 700-member governing body of Chicago Teachers Union. Delegates voted by about a 60 to 40% majority to accept the tentative agreement with the City Hall. However, they continued to strike until the mayor agreed to make up lost instructional time, which means paying them for the days they were striking. It was also said that while the tentative agreement had not made their CTU demands and addresses many of the union's largest concerns, such as limiting class sizes and hiring more support staff, this agreement should most definitely produce lasting benefits in all CPS school, and it is a contract that the teachers are able to believe in and rely on. The cities offer guarantees that every school will have a nurse and a social worker by 2023. This offer also includes 120 new equity positions such as counselors, restorative justice coordinators, and librarians, and additional staffing in bilingual and special education. It is very disappointing that these teachers and schools have to go on strike for 2.5 weeks to get things that should be really basic and necessities that all schools should provide. Things that over here in the suburbs you don't have to deal with. The resources are just automatically given to you. It has interfered with the students' education, and the fact that they are not given the same resources as other schools is simply unfair. The students don't get to decide the type of school that they want to attend, and if it were up to them, they would most definitely prefer a school that has the support system they need. And not only because they grow up in these environments and in these families that have very low poverty are they the ones to blame. If not, they should be the ones to have the most staff available to them. These teachers and staff definitely deserve more recognition for the things that they do to help educate these kids and help support them through their educational career.